What would you say is the timeline for this? Where would you expect to see this issue in like 2 or 3 years?
Boy, I'd love to see it fixed in 2 or 3 years. But where we are right now, we've only been working on this since last July, so it's only been a matter of a few months. And like any effort where you've got dozens of people and dozens of different companies and interests working on it, you can't do this overnight. But we have made great progress since July. We're expecting to present the group's final report, which will include recommendations on future actions, standardization, that sort of thing, by the first part of June. If that gets then approved, then standardization efforts can begin very shortly after that. So if all goes well, I would expect standardization efforts to begin this summer. And we'll move that forward as quickly as possible. It's very dangerous to predict how long something's going to take when you are doing something in a standardized way and in an open forum. Things can go in a variety of directions, and we do our best to keep this on track and everything. But I would like to be able to say that 2 years down the road that we will have a technical solution to this, and that people can then start to look at implementing that and actually solving this problem in the field.
So how do you get everybody on the bandwagon?
So that's really the key to making anything like this successful, is getting the buy-in of all the key players. And so we've reached out to everybody who has a stake in this area and have encouraged them not to think of this so much as a threat, but something that they can help out with because they've got expertise in this area. So we've been very inclusive. We don't refuse anybody access to this group. We want everybody to have their voice heard and be able to bring their expertise to bear on this. And so we've been very, very encouraging of everybody who has some experience and has some skin in this game.
Is this an open source solution?
That's a good question, and because we've got the name open in our title, that leads some people to believe that whatever we come up with would be open source, and it's not. What we mean by open in this case is something that is open for multiple people to implement. So it wouldn't just be a one vendor solution across all these different things. That it would be open to implement, but it could be that somebody can contribute some intellectual property on this that they got a patent around. But as long as they're willing to license that patent under reasonable and non-discriminatory rules, then that's fine. We don't object to anybody making money off of this. We just want to get the problem solved. But we do want it in an open enough way that multiple people can implement this technology. We don't want another black box type of implementation where just trust me, send your data in here and somehow it'll get on there. The broadcasters have been pretty clear that they want this to be open, want to completely understand what is being done to their content, because really that's the core of their business, is their content. They need to understand everything that's done, right down to the finest level to their content. So that's a key requirement, is that we be able to have multiple people bring solutions in this area using this technology.
Where does it all begin? Does it begin at the content creation level, like at the production company or at the network or in the sales service area? Where does this all begin?
Really the identification of the asset clearly begins very early in the chain. When in the case of advertising, you have an ad campaign, you start to get the concept for commercials and start to produce those commercials. You have to identify those very early on. But in terms of the actual embedding of that ID, that could happen at various points in the chain. And I think that's important, that some people might want to embed it very early on in production. Others might want to tag the commercial or the non-commercial piece of content later in the chain. So I think it's just important to have flexibility to be able to insert that wherever it's appropriate. All different media organizations have different workflows, different ways of doing things, and we don't want to interfere with that. We want to work with the workflows that they've got currently and be able to fit this in where appropriate for each of the organizations.
So it's really going to be on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, very much so. We're not standardizing when and where this is put in, just how it's put into the content.
So Chris, looking forward to the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see the media landscape?
I see a lot of interesting trends taking place right now. I see a move generally both on the professional side of things and on the consumer side of things, to more IT-based solutions. So this becomes more of a computer play than a pure video play. People want to be able to get their content when where they want it. We've already seen that now, but I think I see that trend continuing and perhaps even accelerating, and being enabled by using more of the common IT technologies that are out there. So I think those are going to be used more and more, to have more innovative ways of getting content to people, and allow them to get it when and where they want. So I'm seeing some very exciting things, particularly in the professional space in that area, where things are changing very rapidly. And the days of having specific products that are geared just toward, let's say, professional video, I think the days are numbered for those types of things. I think we're going to be able to accomplish everything that we accomplish with those using standard IT software and hardware.